Harvey Weinstein offered to suck my front in front of everyone at my agent, but I was fired for bringing up the subject before it was made public. Dog, what's going on in the industry? There are a lot of sucking writers in the industry who are hunched over desks. Because I encountered the devil here, I came to the realization that, you know what? This is God's nation. Because I wouldn't have realized I was strong enough to get beyond the obstacle the devil would put in my way if I hadn't met him here. DMX attempted to alert us. Many years back, DMX was criticizing the industry. Take a look at this. You will be harmed if you choose the wrong one in the field. I'm not an artist in the industry. I work as an artist in the field. Since no one can finish me, I do what I want. The industry wants fresh artists, whether alive or dead, to sell their souls and make it through. Without you, the industry doesn't care. It turns out that DMX spent years attempting to warn us about Diddy. And although the majority of people ignored it, Katt Williams was the only one who was truly listening. You see, X and Katt have experienced similar things. Because Black wouldn't keep silent, he was jailed, belawed, and portrayed as insane. Katt and X also discussed how the industry operates behind the scenes and how they will come after you if you don't comply. Katt is now beginning to recite the silent part aloud. He is assembling the parts. He is aware that DMX's problems extended beyond drugs. He perceived Diddy as a component of the system he was having trouble with. However, what specifically did DMX see that caused him to abandon the industry? And at what point did he realize Diddy was working for the opposition? Let's begin. All of stuff was done by him. I feel like I'm the only person of color on the script. Present are 3 other Black men present when I arrive. What? Wondering what they did? No, I told him. What do you guys do? They are acquiring a new breed of rappers who are paying DJs to perform their songs. Do you understand what I mean? They are sucking the dicks of record label execs, and they did it this way. Diddy is now being held accountable for crimes far more serious than most of us could have ever imagined. We are now seeing the vindication of numerous whistleblowers who were previously dismissed for attempting to inform us about Diddy, and DMX and Katt Williams are part of that. They have been calling out the exploitation, deception, degenerate pirates, rituals, and everything in between for years. They have also warned us about the power people behind the scenes, but at the time, hardly one was interested in hearing it. They were written off as insane, resentful, and washed up. People dismissed them with a laugh, claiming they were either paranoid or under the influence of drugs. But take a look at our current situation. It's beginning to make a lot more sense what DMX and Katt were saying at the time. Because they didn't play the system and wouldn't keep quiet, these two were both branded as issues in the industry. And it's obvious that X and C weren't yelling now that the mask is coming off. Particularly with Diddy, they were disclosing. Recently, an old interview surfaced in which DMX bluntly stated that Diddy was rewarding his musicians. Some now believe he was only using that term to expose Diddy's financial exploitation of his musicians, including failing to pay them what they were due. However, many people are unsure. DMX seemed to mean just what he said, and it's beginning to appear that X may have been speaking the truth all along, especially in light of the recent gloomy accusations that Diddy was pressuring his artists to do things his way. You know, this isn't the only issue that DMX discussed, and I'm glad I didn't. He also discussed how certain people in the industry essentially wanted to get your music by taking you out to dinner and other events. Furthermore, you cannot claim that DMX was not referring to Diddy, because the first thing that came to mind was 50 Cent's statement that Diddy had asked him to go shopping. In a subsequent interview, DMX said that Diddy first rejected his offer to bring him to Bad Boy because he didn't believe X could be sold. However, Diddy abruptly changed his strategy and began pleading with DMX to stay after realizing the type of contract Def Jam was providing him. Vive magazine reports that DMX claimed Puff said, "I'll lace your pockets. I'll double what they gave you and lace your pockets." However, DMX felt uneasy about Diddy, allegedly because he had already heard some rumors about what was actually happening at Bad Boy Records behind closed doors. Indeed, it's possible that DMX was referring to Diddy's theft of Biggie and other artists when he used the word. Who knows, though, with all the unsettling information that has just surfaced. Perhaps what he said was exactly what he intended. Furthermore, it doesn't end there. Additionally, DMX alluded to the fact that some of the rappers in Diddy's inner circle were literally going to any lengths to secure a contract, even if it meant negotiating a deal. Ja Rule is one name that surfaced. In the past, DMX and Ja had a bitter feud. Additionally, X once asserted that he was aware that Ja was playing tricks on his male stylist. There are some topics you will discuss, or you may simply criticize him for being a homosexual. You are aware that he is, aren't you? No, I was doing his hair. Man, I got the inside scoop. I was putting his outfits together for a performance. On one night, he was surpassed by him. No, K9. Yes, D, I'm telling you. Oh, my mother. Yes, that's what my mother told me. Yeah, I was tired. You get what I mean? He was on X Up, as you know. So what? Whoa, what? It's insane. Yes, dude. Man, you go about with a bag of those tablets. Mention me. You're not serious. That X is crucial, get it? The X is crucial. Okay. Hey man, you're making a major statement here. Yes man, you throw. Right up. He's out there and he'll give you some X if you want one. At about the same time, DMX began criticizing other rappers who were participating in the corrupt practices of the industry and engaging in dubious activities for label executives in order to get their songs played on the radio. You have problems with the industry now? Dog, what's going on in the industry? There are a lot of sucking, decaying people in the industry who are hunching over desks in that exact position. Bring it if you don't like it, bring it. I'm not interested in bringing it, bring it. They have these new breeding rappers that are paying DJs to play their music. Do you get what I mean? The executive of the record label is being sucked by them. That seems to be occurring in excess. Do you understand what I mean? Let me be myself. Let me just play and be the artist that I am. Do you understand? That's right. They now want you all to sit down to supper with them and do other things like that, where you are doing favors for favors. That's not how I get down. Look, you receive my money if I give you the music. Not to be overlooked is X's well-known song, The Industry, in which he essentially explained how the music industry operates. It's not the same in the industry, dude. Has nothing to do with skill. Playing the game is the key. The industry is clamoring to enter. The industry only to discover that they don't belong. The industry is no longer what it once was. The industry is attempting to regulate your MCing style. They want you to speak and dress in this way. But I'm going to talk to the bat while wearing this outfit. Your word has no meaning in the industry. Because he is bluffing, the industry believes what you heard. Money, the industry, hate, but if you don't have a strong mind, I defy you to try to remove something off my plate. You will be destroyed by the industry. The time will come. The vultures of the industry have nothing to eat. I'm getting my beast on, you see. The sector. Remain in the soil. Have fun in the dirt. You will suffer if you test the wrong one in the sector. I'm not an artist in the industry. I work as an artist in the field. Industry. Wanted new artists, living or dead, to sell their souls in order to make ends meet. The industry doesn't care about make ends meet. The industry doesn't care about you, but without you, it couldn't function at all. In the year 2025, X's remarks are more pertinent than ever. And it's amazing how many of the things that DMX said 20 years ago are now coming to pass. He was among the first to point out that some musicians might be compromising or selling out in order to get notoriety and financial gain. We are observing the event in real time. However, DMX received constant criticism from the media, much like Katt Williams. Every few months, a troubled rapper narrative about him surfaced, portraying him as violent, erratic, and addicted. The New York Times had to denigrate X's passing even after his untimely death in April 2021, with the article headlined DMX, "Tapelling but troubled rapper, dies at 50. And it's true that DMX had his share of legal issues, such as possession of drugs and firearms, careless driving, and probation infractions. Here's the problem, though. Despite all, DMX was never charged with any kind of tampering with SA or young girls. No official charges have been made against DMX for engaging in any kind of predatory activity. And that's what sets him apart from most, if not all, of the rappers in the business. Rumor has it that Diddy and some of the other business titans that surround him have committed far more heinous crimes behind closed doors. Nevertheless, they continued to establish empires, collect accolades, and be hailed as symbols of Black achievement. Diddy was shielded by the very system he helped create, whereas DMX was openly chastised for his issues. Not only is this unfair, but it's also a strategy. They shield those who hold the dark secrets and stifle those who speak out. DMX resisted being managed. He also paid a high price for it, just like Katt Williams did. Over the years, Katt also had a lot of run-ins with the authorities. Even after he became well-known, he continued to be detained for unrelated offenses. In 2009, one of the first instances occurred in a Georgia Walmart parking lot. The police arrived, confiscated a portion of his firearm, but they never brought any charges against him. Katt later claimed that the entire situation was a witch hunt against him. He claimed that he was simply going about his business when an armed group of men unexpectedly approached him. Katt said to Vibe, "One of them has a holster and a pocket full of bullets and a pistol. I told them, Let's step outside. After they got me outside, I saw that there were 6 of them and me. And then they called the sheriff to inform them that I had guns and was the issue. The quest is for witches. I'm starting to feel like I'm being persecuted because this is so illogical. However, that was only the start. Katt began repeatedly being arrested shortly after the Georgia incident. The biggest episode, however, occurred in December 2012 when police discovered guns and marijuana in Katt's home and accused him of endangering his children. However, those accusations were then withdrawn, and Katt said that it was all a ruse to try to discredit him. I wanted to ask the police, who supposedly discovered some, that I never leave without my partner. Sir, I am now in the middle of an interview. I'm sorry they discovered drugs now. According to reports, that is what happened. You may view my documents, sir. Weed is not a was absent. Yes. Do you really believe it's safe for children to be around firearms and such? I mean, I simply want to know, since the children were in a lockbox that the cops had broken, how can you keep them safe? Oh, I see. Yes, I mean, you will find guns if the authorities raid my house and break into my gun cases. However, these are not, I'm not a member of a gang. Does it make a difference? Since you have a license for this, you were actually stopped for it and released. No, they're visiting my residence for the 9th time. This time, the issue was that they came to my workplace and removed my children from it. Not from my home, from a workplace. That's a problem now that I can't bring my kids to work. Yes, I must be. Yes, the worst black man ever. Because the whole thing is right here. After I adopted 7 children and raised them in this state for 14 years, are you going to accuse me of endangering children? Really? Are you now pursuing my children? Because the witch hunt had already begun. You want my babies now? Oh no, get it done, dude. Do you intend to make any changes or make any resolutions for the upcoming year? Yes, the next time I'll be white. In my next existence. I'm Caucasian, and I don't accept rejection. Let me tell you something. I am aware that people in this nation are struggling. Yes. And Trayvon Martin was shot dead because he resembled me in appearance. Yes. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King died as a result of speaking the truth. Therefore, I don't think I won't experience it as a comic. You've probably never seen me in a court of law, and I believe I've been put in jail 36 times in 36 months. They're effing with me then. They went too far today because they took my babies. Okay, dude. We wish you luck, dude, Katt. And you don't need luck. Thank you. Enjoy your evening. I'm grateful, brother. However, it didn't stop there either. Suge Knight and Katt were arrested in 2014 for stealing a paparazzi's camera. Now, the media attempted to portray it as if they were attacking the photographers at random, but Katt subsequently stated that the reality was different. In reality, one of the photographers was attempting to record Suge Knight's 5-year-old son. I saw the arrest of you and Suge, correct? Sue and you were arrested. Is that accurate? Supposedly? Supposedly? Yes. Supposedly? All right. What were we doing, for example? Supposedly having something to do with a camera or some other kind of photography equipment. Well, I'm not sure. I'm just certain. Simply put, this is what I read. I'll tell you the story and you'll tell me, but I don't. Does that alter the way you frame this then? All right. In order to enter into a licensing agreement for various holograms, we are meeting with a hologram company. It's in Beverly Hills. After the rodeo, there is an alleyway where you may park your cars. We are in that location. Suga has brought his 5-year-old son along. Additionally, Suga's son runs behind the dumpster and urinates before we enter this meeting. Additionally, a woman records him urinating behind the skip and adds, "Oh, I thought that was Katt's kid." All right, so that's what actually occurred. Look, dude. You see, Suge and I were dealing with this for 20 years. 20 years for it. And they had no trouble sending us up the river when we couldn't have done what was being said if it weren't for the fact that this is Beverly Hills and everything is on video. That the woman claimed I had jumped on her. Additionally, the tabloids were busy portraying Sid Knight as an addict and a problematic comedian, the same old tactic they used to discredit DMX, while he was juggling all those arrests. However, things become much more bleak. DMX frequently discussed overcoming demons in his songs. Additionally, he claimed on the Dr. Phil show that the devil actually came up to him 3 times. For background, DMX's appearance with his son on Ayanna Van Zant's show on Oprah's own network was one of his most talked about interviews. Now, that interview was a complete nightmare since Ayanna was constantly annoying X, interrupting him and acting patronizing. This is a huge part of today, and I've done it a lot already. Man, just shut up. Man, listen to what I'm saying. I'm not going to do this. Don't understand, I was speaking with Xavier. Oh no, everyone. For real, hell. I was speaking with Xavier. Man, I'm not intimidated. Man, you don't need to be intimidated. Quit talking incoherently. What about so? After that interview, DMX claimed that, although being quite honest about his addiction, he felt duped into talking about it. Even though he was cautioned against appearing on another talk program, he nevertheless made an appearance on Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil began bringing up DMX's lyrics. During that conversation, including one that discusses the highs and lows of celebrity and concludes with the impactful line, "Mow the grass to see the snakes." This simply means that you have to cut through the bullshit to find the individuals who are out to get you. I would like to examine a few of your song's lyrics, though. Let me choose the lyrics. Who are we? I believe these lyrics will appeal to you. The jerk, the fame, the labor, the gain, the anguish, the filth, the rain. Ugh. I agree with what you said. Yes, completed it. These studios, these shows, the bins, the hoes, the friends, the enemies. Would you mind reading it? I enjoy how the shows are presented. It comes and goes. The one who gave him the slugs, the one who put a Mimi, the snakes, the grass, the phony, the friendly, the jealousy, and the envy. It took too long to notice the lawnmower next to the tree. There it is. To see the snakes simply mow that grass. Yes. The topic of discussion then turned to DMX's more spiritual side when Dr. Phil mentioned his song, "Lord, Give Me a Sign." After delivering the words with unadulterated passion, X stated how every one of his albums includes a prayer or conversation with God. You've heard what I suppose I would call a gospel song, or at the very least, a song and a dialogue with the Lord on every album. Give me a sign, Lord. I extracted a few of those lines. Tell me, please, what these lyrics mean and how they relate to a dialogue with the Lord. Since our previous conversation, Lord, I truly need to talk to you. Now, the stroll has been difficult. Even though I know you're still with me, I still feel alone. Even though I've grown up, I'm still a child. I'm still dealing with it, soaking up problems like rain in the ground, pain in the hurt. And I am aware that only by mentioning my Savior's name can I end the ache in my neck. I chastise you, devil, for what I endure in the name of Jesus. I'm being forced to do what I used to do. But this is where it ends. I won't be afraid as long as the Lord is in my life. From light to dark, I won't experience any pain. I won't be ashamed. Spit it out from the bottom of my heart because you kept me down from the beginning. And they can't tell me anything right now. Give me a sign, Lord. However, Dr. Phil also brought up DMX's report of 3 devil experiences. And when questioned why, X said that you need to see both sides in order to comprehend what's actually happening. And he claimed that based on what was being presented, he always knew it was a devil. A Conversation with God is a song that appears on all of your albums. You've prayed, in a prayer actually. Additionally, I believe you've spoken to the devil 3 times. Why the devil? Well, I believe you need to know both sides in order to make a fair choice. Naturally, I struck up a discussion after being approached. It doesn't imply that I believed him or that I rode with him. His words to me and the things he offered me were all I needed to identify him. Oh, I see now that you are. I stopped speaking with him because of this. He's only on 3 albums compared to my 7. Additionally, DMX had previously spoken in a similar manner. He informed a reporter in a 2009 jail interview that he thought the devil lived in Arizona. I used to love the sunrises there, he added. However, following what he described as a run-in with evil, everything changed. X made it plain that he would never return to Arizona after what transpired, even though he did not mention specific people. Tell me. Man, I received some when I first arrived in Arizona. On one occasion, I recall leaving the studio at 6 in the morning and stopping on the highway with 4 other cars to observe the dawn. And that's when I started to fall in love with Arizona. Then I encountered the devil in God's country. And you know, it's not so much who the devil is as it is what he does and what occurs. I thought, you know what? This has to be God's country, you know? Because I'd never seen anything as beautiful as that sunrise. Even if he acts via others, it's not really a person. One person cannot be referred to as the devil, you know? You see, Joe, you can't label one individual the devil. You know, no one individual has enough power to be the devil, so you can't do that. I encountered the devil here, so, you know, it's because of all these sufferings that I've come to the realization that this is God's nation. Because I wouldn't have realized I was strong enough to get past the challenges the devil would put in my way if I hadn't met him here. And because he assisted me in conquering these challenges, I came to understand that this is God's nation.